everyone, welcome back to another episode of Ocean State Aquatics TV, and today we're going to be talking about things that you should consider before deciding which gravel vacuum you should purchase. So let's check it out. So today I'm going to be going over the main differences between using a regular gravity-fed gravel vacuum and an electric gravel vacuum. So these right here are the regular gravity gravel vacuums that we sell here at OSA. These gravel vacuums are great because they come in many different sizes when it comes to hose size as well as when it comes to tube size. Our bigger gravel vacuums that have bigger tubes and bigger hoses even come with this handy dandy attachment that actually helps start the siphon for you. These gravel vacuums are great. They are very universal. They can be used on gravel, they can be used on sand, they can be used in planted tanks, freshwater tanks, saltwater tanks, whatever you need to do, these can do it. I've had a lot of customers come into the store and ask me about electric or battery operated gravel vacuums and what my opinion was on them. So I figured I'd do a video and let you know what I think. So these classic gravel vacs are very efficient, but they do take a little bit of time to learn how to use them, especially if you are working with sand. If you own one of these gravel vacuums and you are a little bit confused on how to use it, or you want to make sure you are making it work the best for your tank, I did actually do a aquarium cleaning for beginners video, which I will link in a YouTube card. If you are still learning how to use one of these classic gravel vacuums, you can accidentally take too much water out all at once of your tank and not clean the entire bottom of your substrate, so that can be a downside when you're still learning how. Rather than learning how to properly use one of these gravel vacuums, a lot of people will just go out and purchase an electric gravel vacuum, and I will give a few pros and cons to that, to why that may not be the best idea. So there are many different types of electric gravel vacuums on the market, so I will say first and foremost, before you purchase one, definitely do your research. Some of them will be battery operated and some of them you will have to plug into an outlet. So do your research on what would make the most sense for your aquarium setup. A good majority of them are actually not entirely waterproof, so you cannot submerge them all the way underwater. This can be inconvenient if your tank is deeper than the width of the handle of the gravel vacuum itself. So before you buy one, definitely make sure you do your research and you buy a gravel vacuum that is big enough to reach the bottom of your tank, so you don't end up not being able to use it. If you do end up purchasing a gravel vacuum that you can submerge all the way underwater, you also want to make sure that you dry it out completely and properly so it doesn't rust. Also, especially if you get one that is not entirely waterproof, you want to check every time you use it to make sure that no water got into any of the crevices where any of the outlets or any of the batteries are. If you have an electric gravel vacuum that you have to plug into an outlet, just make sure you are mindful of the cord that is connected, and that when it's draped over your aquarium, you're not actually having water run down the cord and into the outlet, because you can cause a surge and an electrical fire in your house. When choosing an electric gravel vacuum, you also want to check for a minimum water level. You want to make sure that if you have a very shallow tank, or if you tend to do a lot of very large water changes, that the siphon is actually able to start and hold a suction. Some gravel vacuums have a minimum water level where they actually can't hold a siphon when the water gets too low. So you just want to make sure you get one that is going to be compatible with the max depth and the minimum depth that you typically work with when doing water changes. When researching your brands, you also want to make sure that your gravel vacuum is going to be compatible with the type of water that you have, whether it be freshwater or saltwater, as saltwater is much more harsh when it comes down to electrical and moving parts. Other gravel vacuums also may only be gravel compatible or only be sand compatible, so whatever substrate you have in your tank, you want to make sure that the electric gravel vacuum you choose can work with what you have. Also, before you decide on a brand, make sure whatever filtering capacity that the electric gravel vacuum uses, that you can buy replacements for it, whether it be replacement sponges, whether it be small filter socks, small filter pads. A lot of electric gravel vacuums are a really expensive first initial purchase, and then you can't actually find the replacement filter pads to actually filter out your water anywhere. So make sure that you can find those replacements before you invest. That being said, electric gravel vacuums do have a lot of pluses to them. If you have a really dirty bottom of your tank, they're really good at pulling out a lot of debris without taking out a lot of water. It can also be a time saver, or if you have just a small area of your tank that you want to get clean, you can really quickly hook it up and go really quickly just to pull out some debris without really doing a full water change. Just like with the classic gravel vacuums, the electric gravel vacuums also do have a learning curve to them. Another downside about them is you can't actually control the rate of flow that it is sucking water out of your tank. So sometimes if you suck up too much sand or too much gravel, it can actually get clogged very easily. And sometimes larger pieces of gravel and rock can actually make its way up into the impeller and break the unit on the inside. That being said, electric gravel vacuums are really great if you can find one that works for your tank, but sometimes sticking to the classics is going to be the best thing for your tank. Well, I hope this video helped you guys decide if you want to make the investment in an electric gravel vacuum. And like always, keep it fresh.